Hey everyone, what's going on today? I'm super excited to walk you through my complete process for creating those slick, engaging tutorial-style clips that perform really well across Instagram Reels, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts, utilizing both After Effects and a little bit of Premiere Pro magic. Furthermore, I'm going to reveal a significantly faster workflow that leverages a tool called Vizard to automatically transform your lengthy recorded videos into highly shareable, potentially viral short clips, completely eliminating the tedious manual chopping process. Throughout this tutorial, we'll dive deep into a slick speed ramp technique in After Effects that bypasses dozens of manual keyframes, detail my preferred composition setup for face cam and background layering, discuss adding subtle motion styling, and cover the final export steps, including captioning within Premiere Pro. Stick around, because I'm definitely saving the best part for last, where I'll demonstrate how Vizard can essentially automate a massive portion of the heavy lifting, so you can dedicate your energy to great ideas instead of the monotonous editing slog. First up, before you even think about applying any visual effects, the foundational step is to meticulously trim and organize all of your raw source footage to create a solid base. Honestly, this initial preparation stage is truly 90% of what makes the entire subsequent editing process feel completely effortless and smooth. Make sure you get every single clip trimmed down to its necessary length, apply stabilization if the footage is shaky, and consolidate everything neatly inside a pre-composition so your project remains tidy. I mean it when I say this. Mastering pre-compositions is absolutely your most reliable friend throughout any complex motion graphics workflow you undertake. Take the time to thoughtfully name every layer, perfectly line up all of your visual cuts, and precisely sync your recorded audio tracks for perfect lip sync and timing. Typically, I record the screen action, my commentary audio, and the face cam separately. Then I sync them all up using a sharp 3-2-1 clap or a clear countdown, so I have an unmistakable visual and audio marker to align everything. Once those three main tracks are perfectly aligned on the timeline, you should trim that master composition down to the rough final duration, usually leaving a minute or two of extra breathing room, depending on the specific platform's requirements. Now that the foundation is set, we can move on to the actual visual layout stage for our vertical video compositions. For platforms like Reels and Shorts, I strongly prefer creating vertical 4K compositions, and for my personal preference, a frame rate of 29 frames per second seems to work best for smooth motion. The next step involves creating a clean rectangular shape specifically intended for the face cam area, making sure to use heavily rounded corners so the final look feels modern and professional. Draw that shape precisely using the rectangle tool, significantly crank up the roundness setting, and then immediately set that shape layer as an alpha matte for your actual facecam video layer underneath it. You need to repeat this exact same process for your main screen recording layer, either by copying the first shape or creating a new one so that both your facecam and screen frames maintain perfectly consistent borders and styling. A huge time saver is to copy the final transform properties, the scale and position, from your first facecam clip and paste them onto every subsequent facecam clip to ensure your size and placement remain perfectly uniform across all cuts, making the whole final piece feel very intentional. To keep things streamlined, pre-compose all of your individual facecam tracks together so you are left with one single, neat, manageable layer that you can easily move around the composition as needed. You should absolutely do the same thing for all of your separate screen recording layers, pre-composing them into a single group for easier manipulation in the main sequence. Here is a massive pro tip for organization. While you are doing your initial rough trim pass, drop visible markers directly onto the timeline at every single cut point, as these will save you an incredible amount of time later when you need to precisely animate individual sections. For any compositions that you plan to deploy across multiple different social platforms, it is crucial to add guides using rulers and a proportional grid so that no vital information accidentally sits too close to the edges where it could be harshly cropped on certain applications. A smart safety measure is to intentionally leave a completely clear, centered vertical column free of critical content if you know you will be adding subtitles later, which ensures your caption placement is always predictable and visually clean across all crops. Moving on to enhancing the atmosphere, the next step is creating a professional background by duplicating your main screen layer and scaling it up significantly. Next, apply a strong Gaussian blur to this scaled up layer, slightly reduce its overall opacity, and optionally give it a subtle color treatment using a solid color overlay or a smooth gradient ramp. Set the blend mode for this background treatment to either color or overlay, and keep lowering the opacity setting until the effect becomes just a subtle hint that supports the foreground elements. These seemingly tiny tweaks, like adding a soft gradient or just a hint of color overlay, are what truly make the foreground elements pop and ultimately give your entire short clip a much more polished, high-end appearance. With the stage set, it is now time to jump into the exciting part, animating everything to bring the footage to life. This is precisely where our signature speed ramp trick comes into play, designed to give you fluid motion changes without the traditional headache. Instead of the laborious task of manually keyframing dozens of individual speed points across your timeline, you can utilize an effect-driven speed control preset if you happen to have a speed ramp controller or a small script that intelligently accepts your desired start, middle, and end speed values, plus a specific curve strength setting. Once you have carefully dialed in those parameters, you simply select the relevant clip, or even multiple aligned clips on your timeline, and hit apply, which automatically generates the entire ramp sequence without you manually placing a single keyframe. For those specific clips where you might want an abrupt reverse out or a very quick, sharp snap in the action, you can easily toggle a reverse option right within the controller and then reapply the effect for an instant update. This brilliant automation updates everything across the board instantly and translates directly into saving you an absolutely massive amount of precious editing time on every single short you produce. Now, if for some reason you do not have access to a dedicated controller preset, you can still achieve a very convincing fake by pre-composing the clip and then using time remapping in conjunction with carefully eased graph curves to achieve that desirable human feeling speed transition. The absolute trick to making this manual method look organic is utilizing an ease curve in the graph editor that leans distinctly to the left for a fast to slow effect or to the right for a slow to fast motion, so the movement feels natural to the human eye. And critically, regardless of whether you use the automated controller or the manual time remapping method, you must never forget to enable motion blur. Turn it on for the specific layer and also within the main composition settings so all zooms and pans blend together smoothly. Speaking of smooth movement, for the screen recordings I frequently add small, focused zoom-ins to draw the viewer's immediate attention to the playhead position or a very specific area of the timeline interface. To achieve this, you first set a scale keyframe and a corresponding position keyframe at your desired endpoint, and then you add a second set of keyframes at the outpoint to define exactly where you want the focused area to end up. Make sure you apply easy ease to those keyframes and then fine-tune the graph itself so that the movement eases into the zoom and eases smoothly out of it, avoiding any jarring robotic slides. And naturally, you need to ensure motion blur is turned on for those specific zoom layers to prevent that harsh staccato slide effect that immediately screams amateur editing. For those clips that require the camera movement to precisely follow a moving cursor or some other interactive on-screen element, you must execute a smart double movement. First, a slight zoom into the general area, and then an animation of the position property as the cursor travels. Whenever the cursor shifts its focus significantly, you can simply copy your expertly eased keyframes from the previous move and paste them onto the new position track to maintain a beautifully consistent motion style throughout. Adding subtle variations, like adjusting the curve strength to give the cursor a slight trail behind it, can instantly elevate that movement to feel much more cinematic and less like a standard computer movement. Next on our checklist, we need to focus on integrating transitions and those final little stylistic flourishes that really tie the whole piece together visually. I particularly enjoy using quick film burns or light leak overlays placed exactly at the cut points, setting their blend mode to add or lighten when they peak in intensity, and timing them perfectly with a matching whoosh or impact sound effect. A great way to reuse these effects is to pre-compose each transition element individually, so you can effortlessly copy and paste that entire cinematic burst wherever you need it throughout the entire sequence. These brief film burns serve the purpose of making hard cuts feel more intentional and cinematic, without introducing any loud or overly distracting visual elements into the edit. To subtly mark a brand moment or just add a visual signature, I'll animate a small, stylized logo, or perhaps a recognizable After Effects icon popping into view right inside the corner of the facecam box. This animation involves positioning it from left to right with an easy ease, utilizing the graph editor to make it snap in quickly and then settle gently, and crucially, remember to add motion blur for that clean entry. To make sure the logo perfectly integrates, mask it precisely to the boundaries of the facecam shape, so it visually appears glued right inside that neat rounded rectangle boundary. Once this entire intensive After Effects finishing pass is complete, you should render out a high-quality master file and then immediately move over to Premiere Pro to handle the important task of adding dynamic captions. In Premiere Pro, the most efficient method is to utilize the powerful transcript feature located within the text panel to automatically generate a complete text transcription of your entire spoken audio track. While the process is impressively fast, you must always take a moment to thoroughly review the generated text and correct any inevitable errors, because while transcription is about 90% accurate, it still requires that final layer of human polish. After the text is clean, create the actual on-screen captions from the transcript data, and then begin styling them meticulously in the Properties panel to match your brand aesthetic. Select a crisp, highly legible font. Center the text perfectly within that clean middle column you reserved earlier. Add a very thin black stroke around the text for excellent legibility, and strive to keep every line short. I personally aim for single-line captions for Reels because it looks cleaner and is much easier to read quickly on a mobile phone. A significant limitation in Premiere is that it doesn't natively apply motion blur to caption graphic transforms. So here's a neat workaround. Convert your captions to graphics and then manually apply the standard transform effect from the Effects tab. Once the effect is on the graphic layer, set the shutter angle parameter to a value around 180 degrees to effectively simulate that desired motion blur whenever the captions move across the screen. Now, keyframe the position property for a subtle quick pop-up effect lasting only about 2 or 3 frames, and then efficiently copy that entire transform effect and paste it onto every single caption clip so they all animate with perfect, consistent movement. This small, seemingly technical detail makes a huge difference in production value, as it instantly makes your captions feel more tactile and dynamically integrated, rather than just robotic text overlays. Never underestimate the impact of good sound design, because even just incorporating a couple of well-timed swooshes or a sharp film burn hit sound will significantly elevate the entire perceived quality of your final edit. Make sure to place all of your sound effects on entirely separate audio tracks and keep their volume lowered just enough so that they wonderfully complement the narration without ever overpowering it. Alright, now that we have covered the detailed creative process, let's shift our focus toward the crucial aspect of scaling this entire production process efficiently. While executing all of the detailed steps we just covered manually is perfectly achievable for just a handful of videos, if you are posting daily or juggling massive long-form content into dozens of short clips, manual editing will inevitably consume all of your available time. This is precisely the moment where a powerful tool like Vizard steps in as an indispensable, massive workflow boost to handle the sheer volume. Instead of manually scanning through several hours of raw stream footage to hunt down those 1-minute punchy bits, Vizard's dedicated auto-editing feature will intelligently select the most viral potential moments and turn them into ready-to-post clips that already consider platform engagement signals, meaning you get far more usable content much faster. When you compare this approach to other available auto-editors on the market, you find that some are either too basic, only chopping by silence and completely missing the crucial context, or they are prohibitively expensive for solo creators and small team budgets. Then there are the others that force you into incredibly rigid, unchangeable templates, often resulting in you performing more cleanup work than if you had just done the entire edit manually from the very beginning. Vizard expertly strikes that necessary sweet spot. It accurately finds your absolute best segments, exports clips in both vertical and square aspect ratios, and even cues them up with suggested captions and attractive thumbnail ideas. It also includes a fantastic auto-schedule feature. You simply tell the system how frequently you want to post, and it will push those clips out on a precise cadence you define, which is absolutely golden when you are trying to maintain a consistent social presence without having to constantly babysit the scheduling software. The integrated content calendar feature is also surprisingly handy for managing everything, allowing you to see all scheduled clips across every platform, tweak their exact posting times, swap clips between different days, and even re-edit a clip's start or end point directly within the simple web user interface. This level of centralized control is genuinely huge if you are managing content for several different channels or overseeing a few creators simultaneously, because it drastically reduces the chance of losing assets through multiple exports and imports. To be completely honest, Vizard is not intended to be a direct replacement for the deep, pixel-perfect creative control that After Effects offers when you need extremely complex motion design or highly specialized transitions. The best strategy is to use After Effects for those specific moments where the absolute highest level of craft and unique motion matters, and then delegate the scaling of distribution and the post-production tempo entirely to Vizard. In my preferred workflow, I execute the most time-consuming creative heavy lifting in After Effects for my absolute hero pieces, and then I allow Vizard to auto-generate all the necessary batch cuts and scheduling for my daily posts and subsequent cross-platform distribution. This integrated approach truly represents the absolute best of both worlds, merging high-end creativity with unparalleled automated efficiency. To bring this entire workflow summary to a close, always start by cleaning your footage and creating pre-comps, use shape mats for clean face cam and screen frames, rely on a speed ramp controller or smart time remap curves to avoid tedious keyframing, and don't forget the motion blur and easing. Continue by applying subtle background blurs and gradients, export into Premiere for your captions using that clever transform effect motion blur hack, and finally, when you are ready to massively scale your output, let Vizard handle the clip finding and the scheduling for you. Adopting this comprehensive workflow ensures your social feed remains incredibly consistent, saves you an enormous amount of subjective time, and most importantly, still allows you to retain complete creative control where that artistic touch is most necessary. If you genuinely found this detailed run-through helpful for streamlining your short-form video creation, please consider dropping a like on this video, subscribing to the channel for more tips, and let me know in the comments if you'd like a follow-up showing the exact Vizard settings I use for daily real auto-generation, or perhaps a deeper dive into those nuanced graph editor curves in After Effects. Alright everyone, that is all the essential information for today, and I truly look forward to seeing you all in the very next tutorial or video. Peace out for now.